Welcome to 20 Minutes with Mike, brought to you by LegalEase, the ultimate guide on how to survive a law practice. The Chastain Law Office of Gold River, California, and Barking Frogs, your best source for race swag. Go bigger and louder. Now here's your host, Mike Chastain.
Well, welcome to 20 Minutes with Mike. I'm so pleased that you're joining us today. I think I've got a great show for you. I'm going to be talking about less but better. Less but better. So let's get started. All right, as you all know, I do a lot of reading. In addition to reading, I'll listen to audiobooks. So, rather than listening to the news and just kind of getting filled up with all that negative stuff that's going on, I do like listening to music occasionally, but I listen to a lot of audiobooks. And I've been listening to an audiobook called The Essentialist. And this is a phenomenal book. I say that in a somewhat self-serving way because, in fact, it covers a lot of the same material that I talk about in my book, LegalEase, The Ultimate Guide on How to Survive a Law Practice, which is probably mistitled because, while it most certainly will help you in any law practice if you're a lawyer, frankly, I think the tips and the lessons and the suggestions that I make in there can be used for any business, anybody in any stage of life. There's just a ton of things. And it was really encouraging and it really made me feel good as I'm listening to this book. And he's covering a lot of the same things that I covered in very similar ways. So one of the things that he talks about, just as a real clear example, is buffering. So he calls it buffering. I didn't call that. I call it that. I basically said, give yourself more time to do things than you think it's going to take. And I made the suggestion of always give yourself 50% more time to do a project than you think it's going to take. If you think it's an hour, give yourself an hour and a half. If you think it's a day, give yourself a day and a half. Because we notoriously, and when I say we, I mean just people, but lawyers for sure, we notoriously underestimate how much time things are going to take. And we don't account for, somebody coming in and say, hey, you got a minute? Or that phone call that, hair on fire, got to deal with it right now. Or, just that I really need to see what's on Facebook for a minute. All those little distractions and things that occur that you didn't build into, your estimate of how long it's going to take. So he calls it buffering. I call it just giving yourself more time to do the project. But what made me feel good about it was that he gave the exact same suggestion. Give yourself 50% more time. So if you think it's going to take an hour, give yourself an hour and a half. And he points out, as I point out in my book, the downside is that you say it'll take an hour, it takes an hour, and now you got a half hour of free time to do something else. I think we all know that there's plenty to do. You're not going to be sitting around twiddling your thumbs. There's probably 900 other tasks that you could be working on. And so it gives you a little bit of breathing room. It also takes some of the pressure off. You don't need to be like, go, 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 go. It gives you a chance, take a break, sit down, take a breath, breathe for a second and just think about, okay, well, what's the next thing that needs to get done? Before I dig a little bit more into the Essentialist, because there's just a couple things in there that I really wanted to point out. I promised you guys that I would talk about Business Made Simple. It turns out that this is a book that you do, like 2 pages a day. It's a 60-day program. So I'm only on day 6. You do 5 days. You do Monday through Friday. And then at least if you're going to follow the program in this book, which goes along with videos, to me, this is brilliant what he's done. Because the videos don't cost you anything. You don't have to sign up for anything. You can just follow along with the book. You read the chapter, you listen to the video. reading and listening to the video 10 minutes, 15 max, and just some great bullet point things of how to make your business better. Now I'm only on week 1, and he's basically talking about character. He's talking about dealing with conflict. He's talking about how to address how to address conflict, how to get respect by setting clear expectations. I know that, but I often don't do that, and how many times do other people do that? We know what we want, but we don't set real clear expectations. That's been a challenge for us. It's been a challenge for me, and it was just a great reminder. So I will keep keep you all updated. But so far, this has been a fantastic program, and I really encourage it. I'm not big for programs that last a long time like that, but this one I've really liked. And the way he set it up is you can't get into the next day until the calendar passes. So you're locked out, which forces you to go slowly. And that kind of drops into the Essentialist, the ideas of Essentialism, which is, I think if I were to sum this book up in 3 words, it would be less but better. Do less, but do it better. See, I think the days, this is certainly true with law, but I think it's true with virtually every industry. If you try to do everything, so using law as an example, if you try to be a criminal defense lawyer and a family law lawyer and wills and trusts, and civil litigation, you're, with all due respect to everybody, you're probably going to do all of them mediocre. It's too complicated. There's too many nuances. There's too much else going on. I mean, it is a full-time job to stay current on just criminal law. We made a huge decision this week. We've decided, all we've done for basically for 35 years. I mean, I did a little adventure into doing some personal injury work. I did that for a minute. Decided that was probably a mistake. I've done a few licensing things, and I still will do that if it's attached to a criminal case for continuity. But essentially, I'd say for 35 years, 99% of my practice has been strictly criminal defense. This year, actually this week, we made a decision to narrow it even more. So we've done DUIs and criminal defense, and I distinguish those. They're all criminal cases, but DUIs are kind of a specific thing. People look at them a little bit differently. We've decided to focus simply on the criminal case. We're not going to be doing DUI cases anymore. We're going to be referring those cases out if we get any leads. And there's two reasons for that. There's several reasons for that, but one of them is that the number of DUIs are down, and that's a really good thing. They're down because the bars are closed and the restaurants are closed, and I know that they're going to open, and the DUI, the number of DUIs that occur will probably go back to something similar to what they were before. But what we have found is that dealing with the DMV and dealing with the criminal courts and just how slow everything moves, it just takes a tremendous amount of time, and as a result of that, we just don't have the manpower to really do it the way I want it done. I think we do a really good job on our DUIs, and will continue to. We still have a number of them that we need to, work through the system, but we're just not going to take any new ones because I want to really focus on the kinds of cases that we have been getting more of, the more serious, high-end felony cases, and so it's just a real good example of. We're going to do less as far as the types of cases, but we're going to continue to strive to do better and better and better. I am currently in the middle of a homicide trial, which, is part of the decision. Do we have the manpower to continue to take on the DUIs? And the answer is, yeah, we could, but it would really be taken away from doing a lot of the other things that we think need to be done. We've committed to doing a lot of cases. I've got, just the way the trial calendar is set up, because all of those cases that were supposed to happen in 2020 didn't happen. They didn't go to trial. Now they're all going to happen this year. I'm going to be basically in jury trial back to back to back to back, which is okay. I've done that before. I'm a much younger man, but I can certainly do that. But I want to be able to give each client the personal attention that they need. And we do tell people that we will only take a limited number of cases. We've had to, start looking at, okay, where do we cut off? And this seemed like a very logical place. So this is just a good example of doing less but better. This kind of segues into the power of no. I talk about this at some length in my book, and in the Essentialist, he talks about this as well. You've got to learn to say no. Because every time you say yes to something, you say no to something else. Every time you say yes to a commitment, you're saying no to something else. So it may be, I'm committing to go do, a bake sale or whatever. Well, then I am saying no to family time. I'm saying no to time with my kids. I'm saying no to, time doing whatever it is that I want to do. Saying no to other things. There's only, on this earthly plane, time does run linear, right? And so you can only do a certain number of things in a certain amount of days. There's only so many hours, and the fallacy of, well, I just won't sleep. That's a whole nother story, but I will tell you that is false economy, bad idea. I was really excited that in the Essentialist, he talks about that essentialism. He talks about, to be essentialist means that you get enough sleep, that you prioritize sleep, because it is such a critical component to success. You cannot be successful unless you get enough sleep. Now, there may be those rare people who, can function on less sleep. I know for years I did, and during adventure racing, you function, but what I will tell you, based on my own personal experience and then based on reading the various studies, is that you work on a much lower level when you are not getting enough sleep. It is just as simple as that. So, the idea of, well, I just won't sleep, that is false economy. That is a really bad idea. So, the idea here that I promote, and that many other authors promote, is, being intentional with what you commit to. What are you going to agree to do? Because every time you agree to do something, you are saying no to something else, whether you know it or not. And so developing that skill of saying, no, thank you, I can't do that. Maybe some other time, but I cannot do that. Having your priorities in the right place. What are the things that are essential in your life? And this really gets to the kind of the core of this book. What are the things that are essential in your life? Family time, spiritual time, rest, exercise, meditation, whatever it is, working for your clients. When I am working on a case for a client, that client deserves my focus and my attention. And the only way that I can give that is if I say no to other things. And so being willing to say no. Can we make money doing DUIs? Yes, we have for many, many years. It worked out very well. But when I had to, look at what we had going on, look at the manpower, look at the amount of hours in the day, and realize, look, I cannot do it all. So how am I going to focus on the commitments that I've made? We can still honor all the commitments that we've made. We still do a great job on the DUIs. We're just not going to take anymore, because we need to be focused, and we need to look long term. We need to look down the road and go, okay, what else is coming up? And I know that I've got trial after trial after trial of cases that have been sitting, on the on deck circle. The DA wants to get him out. The client wants to get him out. I want to get him out. I want to get him done. So in order to have that focus, we have to do that. So the power of saying no, the willingness to gracefully say, no, thank you, can't do that. Not going to do that. And I talk about in my book a number of suggestions about saying no. Don't be wishy-washy about it. Make a decision and then let the people know. Don't leave people hanging. If they ask you to do something and you're not going to do it, don't be wishy-washy about it. Just say no. One of the things that he talked about in the book that I really think made a lot of sense to me is setting the bar at what you will say yes to. And he sets the bar at, if it's not a hell yes, then it's a no. I just think that that's a great thing. If it's not a hell yes, if it's not absolutely, I want to do this, I'm super excited about this is the right thing for me, then it's going to be a no. And I still struggle with that a little bit, especially when it's taking clients. If you're having that, I don't know whether or not I should take this case. Um, uh, you know, I'm still struggling with that. I don't mean to say that all of these things are as simple as just saying it. Talk is cheap, but um, we are trying to work at least on the proposition that if it's not a hell yes, it is a no. And when we're hiring people, and we're always hiring people, it's funny. Richard James had told me, and many other people, that you should always be recruiting new employees, because people come, people go, people leave, things happen. Very little of it has to do with us. People have lives and other things that are going on in those lives, and so people come and people go, and that's certainly been true in our firm. So that you should always be recruiting, always be looking out for folks that can replace the people that you have. Not that you're necessarily going to replace people, but you always have someone kind of in the bullpen that, if you need somebody, you don't wind up with a gap. Because sometimes we do wind up with a gap. We're down one lawyer at the moment, and we're looking to fill that position, but we're not going to fill that position with anyone less than a absolute hell yes. So anyway, let me sum this up here real quick, because I'm just about out of time. Less but better, is probably our new mantra, and I would think that you should give that some very serious consideration. I would encourage you to either read or listen to the book, The Essentialist, or Essentialism. Find out, understand what he's talking about. But doing less but doing it better does seem to be the path to happiness, as well as the path to greater financial freedom. When you're doing too many things, when you're spread too thin, it is really hard to be profitable. This isn't a stock portfolio where they say, you should spread your stuff out, have a widespread portfolio. We're talking about work. Do one thing and do it really, really well, and be the best that you possibly can. And then you can command the kind of prices that will continue to make you profitable. If you're only going to do DUIs, be the best DUI lawyer you can be. And if, like in our case, if we decided that that's a part of our practice we are not going to do, and there's other parts of our practice that we're cutting out, but that was like a major thing that we decided we are going to change. So in any event, everybody, I hope you have a great week. I hope you find these things helpful. If there are topics that you'd like me to cover or go over or comment on, just put it in the messages here on Facebook, or you can always message me at mike@chastainlaw.net. It's mike@chastainlaw.net. And I'd be happy to address those. We've got a million topics that we can cover, and I just pick the things that interest me or come to light each week. So, all right, everybody, just remember, be grateful for what you have and be willing to work for what you want. All right, y'all take care. We'll see you next time. Bye.